Let's talk about growing the company. Let's talk about good times and bad times, because there were plenty of both. What were some of the good times that you?
Oh man, there's a lot. So I mean, taking the first purchase order, I mean that's key, right? So I'll never forget the date of my first purchase order. Actually, no, it wasn't the first PO, it was the first install date, but it was February 5th, 2009. I remember that day because it's my wife's birthday, and I wasn't there because I was sitting in a data center in Raritan, New Jersey, installing Whiptail 001 inside of a customer. So that was one major highlight. But as we started to grow the company, those good times are somewhat intoxicating. I mean, you get win after win after win, and the business is accelerating like this. We had an opportunity, and you remember, you guys discussed going for tonnage at one of the board meetings. So Max, who was our head of marketing at the time, hatched this crazy idea to do one of the trade shows that we were already going to attend. We decided to go for a big booth, and we decided to hire somebody who'd be a huge draw to the booth. And we hired Brent Spiner from Star Trek. We hired Lieutenant Commander Data to be our booth person for and sign autographs and talk about the product, which was awesome because he was a boyhood idol. And
you know a lot about data.
I do. We know a lot about enterprise data. I mean, so it was fantastic. It was one of my favorite times.
Use your venture money to hire celebrities to promote your product.
Hey, you said go for tonnage.
You did indeed. Yeah. What were some other good times? I mean, you had customer wins, you had big partner wins.
Yeah, I mean, we had stuff happen. Like we won intelligence agency contracts. We're this tiny little firm in New Jersey, and we're walking into DC and data centers I can't speak of, and all kinds of fun stuff. So we also, we won some crazy, seven-figure deals that we took directly out of the pocket of the incumbents who were willing to give it away for free just to not lose footprint. When one of my favorite sayings that one of my early hires always says, "We beat free." You don't beat free very often, which was kind of cool. So we definitely had some fun times, unfortunately, good comes the bad. We had, this was right around our tail end of our Series B. We grew the company way too fast from a headcount perspective. And when you're doing things like hiring celebrities and whatnot, sometimes it's pretty easy to think the growth is going to continue like this, and that's going to convert into revenue. We missed. We missed bad in one of our quarters. And we had this challenge. Our burn rate was way ahead of plan. And we had to make a tough decision. And as the founder of the company, having to do a layoff was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Simply because, I asked all of these people to join me based on my vision. I probably internalized this a little bit too much, but I personally hired almost everybody at that firm at that time. I was in the interview. I was involved in putting the offer letters together. And I had to tell them that, it just wasn't going to happen much longer. I mean, some of these people were not right for the role. Some of these people, the roles just outgrew the person. But it was the right thing to do. I think the most impactful thing about that process, though, was the support we had from our board. I mean, so, a lot of times I've heard stories, and some of my friends who have raised money from other VC firms in other parts of the country, they'll remain nameless, but they're on the other side of the country. Their board, gave them an order. They had to cut the burn rate, and then the board disappeared. That wasn't the case with this situation.